Yeah, a lot of people don't see things that go down on social media just because they are not chronically online. Like, unlike me.
That's like me. I wish that was me.
Hi guys, welcome to LoveCast, the BL podcast. I'm your host Pixie, and with me are my co-hosts Kayla and Alexa.
Hello.
Hey.
So our episode today kind of came around because we are annoyed and enraged,
to say the least.
And
yeah.
I think, like, the whole KinnPorsche thing kind of pushed it over the edge to the point that we need to talk about this. Because so much shit has happened the last couple of years. It needs to be out there, and it needs to be noticed. So, we're gonna talk about some controversial stuff, which shouldn't be controversial, because it shouldn't happen. But Yeah. So first out, like I said, KinnPorsche. Not the series that's the problem, the authors. Kayla did a video about this, so if you want like full details of everything, you can watch her video. She explains everything. Oh my god, I've been so mad.
Yeah.
Like, these authors have been using like every privilege, everything they have to abuse these actors in such a blatant way. Like, it's I don't understand how this hasn't like been addressed and why nothing has been done about it.
Yeah, I think it's really frustrating the further you see stuff going back. And like, I think the situation with Barcode was the major catalyst, although there had been some talk of situations with Mile and Oppo in the past. But I think when it happened with Barcode and with him being a minor, that really like was a major catalyst for people. And then you start going back and finding all of these other past interactions, even beyond what people were aware of at the time, like Mile bringing up the situation in the live that he did at one point. But like, you find even more of these videos, and knowing the context of what happened with Barcode, you are looking at the way the authors are interacting with the actors and looking at the way the actors are responding to the authors' interactions. And you can just see that like something's not right there with that relationship and the way they're interacting. And it just like is really, it makes me feel so icky to go back and like watch all of these clips in like a completely different light and see the way that, you know, they're interacting with each other and how yucky it is. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, the conversations and clips that we've seen, like, I felt physically ill watching it. Because it's so bad.
Yeah.
And let's just say this, like, there were people commenting on Kayla's video that were defending the authors, saying that it wasn't anything. And I just, dude.
Yeah, there have been a lot that I'm like, I'm not so sure about. Like, I've seen a lot of victim blaming, being like, Mile is rich and he has all this power. How could anyone ever harass him? They wouldn't dare to harass him, etc., etc. And it just like, it all feeds into that stereotype that like men can't be victims of abuse. And it just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, and the worst part is that the company hasn't done anything. Like, there hasn't even been, like, they usually are pretty good at putting out stuff when stuff happens. But this,
with the authors, it's just like
radio silent.
They will put out a statement about something completely different that's going on at the same time, but no matter how many hashtags are going on around them about the authors, it's just like conveniently not being addressed, and that's like really not sitting well with me when it comes to Beyond Cloud.
It does, like, make it seem like the authors have a real like chokehold on production.
Yeah.
It seems like it.
There is something going on here that isn't right. Because if you remember back in the day of Nidiman, the series, the fans in Thailand got the book removed from the market, from shops, because it's a book that was once a fan fiction of a K-pop artist.
I can't believe that.
And they got the book removed. It's not sold anymore. They tried to get the series cancelled, but it was already airing. Like, that wasn't gonna happen. But, dude, how do they manage to do this? And nothing has happened with these authors. Nothing.
Yeah. It's like, there's no way they're not seeing the hashtags and the call-outs, because it's coming from both Thai fans and international fans.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people want to try and paint it as, like, international fans making an issue out of nothing or not understanding the culture.
It's the culture.
Yeah, but
oh my God.
Thai fans are a lot of the reason that these things started being brought to light. So all of the fans of KinnPorsche and all of the fans of the cast are seeing it as an issue. So, there's no way that Beyond Cloud is not aware of how fans are feeling about the authors and the things that are being discussed in regards to the authors. So, yeah, you just know it's like them prioritizing being able to produce further KinnPorsche contents over their cast and their safety, which is kind of fucked.
And I just want to say to anyone coming out here with the culture thing, there are countries out there that literally their culture is like stoning women. Just because it's the culture doesn't mean that it's right.
Yeah.
So just don't.
I don't know how many times we have to say that.
Like, yeah, I keep thinking about, like, obviously this is a very American example, but it's that idea of just, like, workplace harassment that we'll see in, like a show like Minutemen, is that what that's called? That's, like, set in, like, the 50s or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, like, so much used to be tolerated, and I think so much still is tolerated depending on how conservative the culture is. And it gets to the point where you really do think that it's normal because it's all you know. But sometimes you really just have to reflect on the environment that you grew up in and be like, I'm not sure if we should keep letting this slide.
Yeah, there's a difference between respecting the culture and calling out something that's wrong.
Yeah.
When I don't think it's bad. Like, sexual harassment is bad.
Yeah, that's not, bringing light to that isn't being culturally insensitive or disrespecting Thai culture. Like Kayla was saying, like, we can understand that these might be situations that, Thai people are used to growing up in and not bringing light to and just kind of letting happen. But that doesn't mean that pointing out that these situations are not right is disrespecting Thai culture. Like, I don't think that's a connection that you can make when you're trying to argue against bringing these situations to light.
Yeah, so if anyone is, like, curious about everything and haven't seen anything, just go watch Kayla's video. Everything's there, so...
It's very detailed. It goes through the timeline of events.
And trigger warning. Like, if you don't tolerate stuff like that, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I saw someone, like, commenting that they were mad at Jeff for not, like, standing up for Barcode. And I'm just
that's where this whole issue of power imbalance comes in, because what power does Jeff have in that situation? Like, there's only so much. First of all, they were on a live stream with thousands of people watching. Those authors not only have, like, age seniority over him, but in terms of him being an actor and them being the authors of the novel that he's acting in the series of, like, there's so many ways that they are above Jeff when it comes to like seniority and that type of situation. So the expectation that Jeff should just call them out in that situation, and
like honestly, he did call them out in a polite way.
Subtle. Yeah, exactly.
He did. Yeah.
So like him not overtly being like, don't do that. Like, I don't know what people expected him to do in that situation.
If he would have like came out and like yelled at them, then people would say that he was rude.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's like they
and all the focus would be on his rudeness, like, and it would just slip by that this happened even. So like the best way to do it is just like let the internet do its job. But the company isn't like doing anything about this. So I mean the I think it's sort of like the popularity of the series that there isn't enough pressure for them to care. There needs to be a lot more pressure on this.
I think, unfortunately, what needs to happen if, like, people really want to see Beyond Cloud address this situation is you have to start impacting their money. Mm-hmm. And that also means, like, not supporting things that the KinnPorsche cast is doing, which I think is hard for a lot of fans to do. Yeah. Because they want to support the cast and things like the tour, because obviously the cast is very excited about that. But at the same time, like, the more popular KinnPorsche contents get, like, the less likely we are to see, I feel like, anything being addressed, because Beyond Cloud is not going to want to jeopardize the possibility of keeping KinnPorsche contents coming.
I mean, the best way to do anything right now is to completely boycott the release of the next English translated novel.
And
the authors are expecting this. So they went out and like, we're going to give money to charity if you buy the book. Dude. What the fuck?
Yeah, the weird, like, trying to save face politics and, like, and it just feels like such a slap in the face to the victims in the situation that they're like, let's go out and donate to other unfortunate people, but, like, you're actively creating victims in the way that you treat these actors. So, like, it's just, so it makes me so angry.
And this isn't new either, that, like, higher-ups are taking advantage of actors. We see it all the time, and it happens all the time, but nothing gets done about it. Mm-hmm. As another example of a company taking advantage of an actor was Motive Village. When Two Moons 2 was filming, there was a very high up person that was taking advantage of Earth. And he started getting excluded from the Two Moons 2 promotional stuff. He wasn't part of, like, the boy band they tried to create. Mm-hmm. Even though, like, we know that, like, he can sing and dance and stuff, so it makes no sense.
Yeah, their reasoning was, like, wasn't it like he didn't fit in with the vibe of the group or something?
Like, and I mean, are you comparing? I know. I mean, I love Ben, but are you comparing Ben to, like, Earth now? Like, you're putting Ben in the group and not Earth. Excuse me. Like, I love Ben. He is the cutest.
No,
and the greatest. Dancing skills.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Because, like, Earth, out of all of them, other than 9, it seemed like he did have musical potential. Like, he sang in the series, he played instruments in the series. So it's like, I think...
Yeah, and we saw him dancing right now in the new series.
Yeah, there's Say No Sotes little dance they have. Like, like... And that's how you know it was a bullshit reasoning coming from someone who was pissed off that Earth was rejecting their advances. And that is eventually what we learned happened through speaking out, which there's other issues to get into about that. But when Earth eventually, I think he was the first one to kind of leave Motive Village and say he wouldn't be participating in Two Moons 3. And when that came to light, the whole situation kind of came to light because wanted to save him and stand up for him, but that led to taking advantage of Earth in that situation in his own way and trying to profit off of this situation. So
yeah, I mean, he was, as first one, he was the whistleblower. He was the one who told like everyone about this. Earth went to him in confidence, and this is what has been saying himself. Earth went to him in confidence for telling him about what happened. He was the one who said something and made all of this happen. And I mean, Earth is in a contract, and yeah, like, stuff was happening, but was, like, going public that way, was that really the best way to do it?
Yeah, unless the victim expressed, like, I need you to help me bring this situation to light because I can't do it on my own, then, like, he really didn't have a right to decide to make that story public on his own. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing, too, that himself said that he did not have permission from Earth to say He said anything. He didn't need permission. Because yeah, he didn't need. It was just as much his story. And that's the kicker. How is it your story? Because he told you about it? Because he confided in you about it? That does not make it your story to tell. Yeah, and he was a part of getting Earth out of the contract. Yeah. I acknowledge that. But he also used the situation to try and get him into his shows. So he used his situation to create a show. Yeah. He made like a fan fiction that he wrote himself and made it into a show where he wanted Earth to originally be in what do you call it? Call it what you want. Call it what you want. Mm-hmm. He wanted Earth to be in that show. But obviously that didn't happen. Earth joined Secret Admirer, which was still Arm's show, by the way. So he was taking advantage of this whole situation and all the support that Earth was getting. Yeah. And during the casting, Art showed up. And he was seeing all the internet, like, support for Art, because a lot of people think he's, like, been mistreated or whatever ever since the Mew scandal. And he latched onto Art as well, to the point that he brought Art with him when he got thrown off Secret Admirer after bullying a woman who has cancer, who was the author. Yeah. And didn't he, like, also bring up the Mew Art situation years after it happened? And, like, was, like, all out in support of Art? And it's just this weird mindset he has of using his power as a director and someone who's saying he's helping these artists to take their stories and their situations and use them to his own advantage. And, like, he wants to claim he's the good guy and their savior and the one helping them by bringing the situation to light. But he's using them in the same way, abusing his power the way everyone else is by acting like he's entitled to their stories as their director. And he does, like, this whole creepy fixation on one actor at a time. At first it was, what's his name from Two Man's Tune? The one who acts like the stalker. Oh, I don't know what his name is. Because, got thrown out of Moody Village because of his relationship to him. Because they were taking the car together or whatever. Right. Which said himself, by the way. Oh my God. This is not something like we brought out of nowhere. This is what has publicly said himself. He was thrown out of Moda Village because he had an inappropriate relationship to one of the actors. Kaprow. That was the actor, yeah. After that, he put Kaprow in everything he was doing. And then he found Art. And suddenly Art is in everything he's doing. And then it's the way he will, like, go around liking tweets, shipping him with his actors, and accounts that are shipping him with his actors that might just be alternate accounts that he made. Like, it's just so weird. Like,
And him, when they were doing the Pinoy BL festival, and he is a close friend to the organizer of the festival, by the way. We know this because we have a clip of the organizer of the festival telling us about his relationship to Om. Anyways, he said he wasn't going. He probably got like a heads up that this was going to be a shit show from the organizer, who is his friend. So he put out like a thing where, yeah, he's sick, they won't be going, they are a family, so none of them are going. And then he shows up with one person from the cast.
So weird.
And it's like, okay, yeah, did the festival pay for 2 of you? Is that why you suddenly decided to come? Like, are you literally lying that much? What is going on?
Yeah. I don't know. He's just such a, like,
I have a lot of rage for
Oh, yeah.
I've had that, like, we've consciously tried not to talk about him because he is very confrontational. Like, he will talk on social media, he will dox people, he has no scruples about, like, shit talking anyone. And we don't
like search out. He commented on one of our videos.
He did
from a year ago.
He did on one of mine too.
Month. And like a video that was not talking nicely about him. Like, he searches for confrontational situations. Yeah. He searches for confrontational situations, and
he does.
He also just like incites a lot of rage in all 3 of us. So obviously, you can tell when we get on the topic.
Yeah, and his fans picks up on that. So a lot of his like diehard fans will go and attack anyone who says anything about him.
Yeah.
So that's why Willie but I cannot keep it in anymore. So. Since we're working to talk about this, I'm just like, yeah, it's coming all out now.
Yeah, but yeah, he is just like an example, I think, of someone who publicly acts like he's doing good things for actors and artists, but is also very publicly taking advantage of them. And I don't know if he genuinely doesn't recognize that or just thinks it's fine.
Yeah, have you noticed how he often talks shit about BL as a genre? Like, he talks like, he was talking about Secret Admirer, he had to rewrite the whole script because it wasn't good enough. Like, he talks so much shit about BL, but he still uses it to get himself ahead. Like, he used to do queer media. That's what he directed before. But he noticed that he was getting more support, more interactions when he was getting into the BL space. So he jumped into that just because he wants clout.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about that really bugs me is that he has such a grand vision of himself. Like, he thinks that he is like the Edward Snowden whistleblower for like the BL industry, when in reality he is the one inciting more harm than help.
Without anyone's permission, without like any thought to what it could do to the people around him. I just don't understand how he even has like a following. But it feels like a cult, honestly.
Yeah, kind of does.
We had someone to come into like the cafe server who saw us like, yeah, we were talking shit about because he was doing some crazy shit at the time. So we were saying some nasty stuff because he was being nasty. And that person said that we were only saying these stuff because he was an ugly gay.
Oh, yeah.
That's so subjective. Like,
what the fuck?
Like, how...
Like, his own fan came in and said, yeah, you're only saying that because he isn't pretty. Like, what the fuck?
That's saying more about you than anybody else.
Insulting
Like,
him in
no
the same
one's commenting on his looks. Like, seriously. There's enough other stuff to comment about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has like a relationships with the author we don't like as well now. Just I saw a picture of them having lunch together or something, dinner.
Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah. Yup.
Yeah. On tangent.
Okay.
Moving
on. Moving on to other terrible stuff. As another example, again, this is from the Philippines. Juan Severo, the writer of the screenplay of Gaya Sa Pelikula, allegedly sexually harassed Paolo, who was the lead actor. And this has come out from Paolo, and it also was corroborated by a lot of his Juan's friends.
Cast and production and people who...
And production team,
Yeah. So, I think that one was especially hard for a lot of people to take in because obviously Gaya Sa Pelikula is a very moving story, and I mean, we all have a lot of attachment to it. But not only that, but, the way Juan Severo spoke about the queer community and why he was writing this story and what he wanted to tell with it, only for it to come out that behind the scenes he was taking advantage of a newer actor who was, seeing Gaya Sa Pelikula as an opportunity to get in on the scene and act in a queer role as a queer person, and, the author or screenwriter of the screenplay was then taking advantage of that person. And so I think, the way he spoke publicly, a lot of people really looked up to him for, a lot of his thoughts and the things that he said and the way he brought the story to life. And so, when it came out that he was also taking advantage of one of his artists, it was just like...
Yeah, and it also happened around the same time that we, happened after we got the news that we were getting a season 2. Mm-hmm. And obviously that was completely scrapped. Like, originally, Paolo did say that he was willing to do a season 2, but Juan Severo couldn't be part of, the screenwriting. But later it became pretty obvious that it's not happening, and I understand that. I mean, it has to be a lot for Paolo, who enters the entertainment industry as a gay man, to handle all of this. I can't imagine what other bullshit he's been through.
Yeah,
he's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, I mean, he's luckily now working with Idea First. He did a film with them, so hopefully he's in much better hands now. From what we know about Idea First, he seems to be in much better hands now. So, it seems like despite everything that he went through, he's been a trooper about it, and very expressive about the situation, and despite the risks that might have for him, trying to make it in the entertainment industry. But, I think he's gotten a lot of good opportunities since then, and so he seems to be doing better. And, when we spoke to him, he seemed, ready to just close that chapter and that situation and just, move on. So, I'm happy that he has been able to do that, it seems.
Yeah, while we're talking about the Philippines, I think we should mention about Asterisk Entertainment. Is that what they're called?
Yes.
Or is it just Asterisk? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's Asterisk.
They are taking advantage of their talent with bullshit contracts, and yeah, it's another one of those situations where like people high up in the chain are taking advantage of people who are new in the industry. And like we've managed to anonymously see some of the contracts and stuff, and it's really bad. Like it's how anyone could sign anything like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you're pretty much signing over your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And all your finances.
Everything.
Yeah. And, I think it just plays into, as, like, this whole conversation has, and I think is something that, Asterisk Entertainment kind of goes beyond the BL industry, but I think there is this, what's the word I'm looking for? Recurring theme, kind of production houses taking advantage of newer actors who are seeing BL as a opening into the entertainment industry. It's happened basically with every rendition of Two Moons. There was issues with the first one. There was obviously issues with the second one. And I have no doubt there'll be issues with the third one that is somehow still happening.
There's a reason we call them Snake Village instead of Buddha Village.
Yeah, but it just like goes into like that. This and Asterisk goes into this bigger trend of, I'm sure, entertainment industries all over the world outside of BL and beyond, like seeing young people who want to get into the entertainment industry and giving them that opening, but putting all of these strings attached to it that take advantage of them and harm them in the long run and leave them worse off than they were before they even got involved with a production company.
Yeah. Yeah, there was this whole thing. Do you guys remember back when that terrible show, but they didn't pay the actor? My Day?
My Day? Yeah, My Day.
What was the company?
I don't remember.
I cannot, like, it's so far back.
But like one
of the main actors came out with that, like, he wasn't getting paid. He'd been really treated really badly, and he was like a TikTok social star before he came like into this. And he probably signed a bullshit contract again. Yeah.
I was watching a video yesterday that is not related to BL, but kind of in the same vein of, because the way the entertainment industry has changed and so many people are coming from being like social media influencers and TikTokers trying to break into the television and film industry, it makes it a lot easier to take advantage of them because a lot of them don't have proper management when they're being approached by these production houses, and they are kind of just like looking for whatever opportunity they can get to kind of like make it big. So it's very common
contracts are really hard to read because the language used is really like, they do it on purpose. They make it really confusing. Hard to read them. Like, and this is a problem in all of entertainment, and especially like in music as well. Like, there's some bullshit contracts going there. So there's a lot of people being taken advantage of. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, probably a lot more than the examples that we have noted here. And I feel like we've kind of seen but like certain shows like Lovely Writer and More of Why kind of try to shed light on things that are probably happening behind the scenes. Yeah. Both in different ways. Like, I think More of Why, which is airing now, has taken a much darker and more direct approach to specifically the BL industry. And like, there's only 2 episodes out, but like, Jesus Christ, like, it's heavy. But like this idea of like cozying up and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations with executives for the opportunity to get a particular role. And like that kind of does tie into some of the examples we talked about, and how executives think that they can give you opportunity in exchange for whatever type of favors they're looking for. And Lovely Writer kind of
they put like a satire spin on it, sort of.
But those underlying issues are still there, like with Gene being taken advantage of by his production house or his publishing company, and being pushed to write certain scenes or write NC scenes that he wasn't uncomfortable with. And we see the same thing in War of Why, with them being pressured to act out certain type of NC scenes that they might not be comfortable with. And
the push for fan service, the push for being on the like verge of sexual harassment towards someone, like really harsh. And everything you see in Lovely Writer is stuff that's happened.
Yeah, they put a lot of nods into real life situations. Yeah. So, I think those shows, obviously they are dramatized to an extent because they are dramas and that's what happens. Yeah. But I do think that they are, they both have been trying to and have tried to put a behind the scenes lens in different ways of like what the BL industry specifically is like and how that impacts actors and what we see on screen and with the fan service versus what's going on behind the scenes. So, I think, taking things like that into mind, we can kind of imagine the stuff that goes on, unfortunately, with a lot of these actors.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard, and especially like in countries like Asian countries, for these actors to speak out about it. I think a lot of people don't actually understand like the power dynamics that work into these shows. How much power does the director have? And how inappropriate it is for the director to have any kind of relationship to the actors or anything. Like, you have basically an employer and his employees. And you're going to have an imbalance in their relationship as long as one is the boss of the other.
Yeah.
And someone is going to feel pressure, like the person who is on the lower end is going to feel pressure, no matter if the director means it or not, or want to cause anything, like even if they're like a nice person and just have caught feelings or whatever, no matter what the situation there, the actor who's under is going to feel pressure to go into a relationship that they don't want, but it's the only way they see like them keeping the position they have.
Yeah, because they don't know what would happen if they refuse that situation. And we've seen like with Earth the negative impacts that can have on your career and your potential to like move up in the industry and stuff like that. So, you see stuff like that happen and you can, I wouldn't be able to speak out either because, it's potentially jeopardizing something you work so hard for if you, say no in that situation.
Yeah. Earth was the lead actor in a very popular series. And he was completely blacklisted for a year? More?
Something like that, yeah. Pretty much until he got My Secret Love / Secret Admirer at the time, he was kind of out of the spotlight, I think. So, yeah. So, I don't know. You can just see the real life impacts that it has on people. And it's just like, it kind of goes back to people asking Jeff, like, why being mad at Jeff for not speaking up in that situation with Beyond Cloud. And it's like, how can you see how these actors have been impacted when their situations have come to light and then still get mad at another actor for not saying anything. And I don't know. It's just...
And even if the comments about, like, Miles having money and whatever, that doesn't really... money doesn't really carry that far. Yeah. It's influence that carries the entertainment industry. It's who you know. How, like, big is the company, who you know, like, it's all of that. Like, a rich person can still get completely blacklisted if they find, like, it's very close-knitted, the whole entertainment industry, like, especially for the higher-ups. Yeah. Like, everyone knows everyone. So,
people talk.
Yeah. So if they want to blacklist someone because they're not following the general, like, consensus, they're gonna get blacklisted. And these actors know that. Like, everyone can be replaced.
Especially in an industry
the
like
authors,
BL.
As an example.
Yeah, and especially in an industry like the BL industry where there's constantly new projects and a never-ending plethora of young guys who are looking to get involved with BL and get into the industry.
Guys.
Yeah, so, and, you know, you take that into account, and like you said, like, they have to be aware of that. It's so easy to snap a BL pairing or a BL actor or an entire series into, like, obsoleteness, basically. And, like, we've seen it happen with pairings and actors and stuff like that. So, like, there are so many different factors going into why, you know, someone, even like Mile with all of his money and the fact that he's a man, which, like, it's weird, like, denial of things that happen to men, but, like, even someone like him, like, has so many different factors coming into why he might not be speaking up against the stuff that has happened to him. Even though, you know, he, in the same way that Jeff did, he did speak up in a way, just not in the overt way that people wanted him to, which is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, that's where culture comes into this, because in Thai culture, you're not supposed to be loudly telling off your either superiors or people who are older than you.
Yeah,
that's
in any Asian
culture.
Actual
culture. So for them to even say anything goes against every grain in their body.
Yeah. This also reminds me of a related take on the KinnPorsche situation about like the cast being friends with the authors and production team, because it brings into question like how friendly you should be with your bosses. And, like, is it appropriate to consider, like, your director that you're working under your friend, or your authors your friend? Or is that an inappropriate work relationship?
Like, as a boss, I have 35 people working under me. And the problem with being friendly with, like, being friends with your employees or more is that you won't be able to do your job anymore, because sometimes people need to be told what to do. And if you tell a friend what to do, like, you need to do this, but you're gonna get resentment, right? It's not like, it's not a mutual relationship. I would be so uncomfortable with either having a romantic relationship or having, like, a proper friendship. Like, I'm friendly with my employees, obviously, but they're not my friends because it's inappropriate. And they shouldn't know intimate details about me as their boss. Like, that's very inappropriate.
And I feel like it goes the other way as well, because, you know, if you have a director or a higher up getting these intimate details about the actors and their personal lives, and that is stuff that they could leverage against them in the future if they so decided to, you know, try and take advantage of them in that way. So it is like... No matter how you look at it, I, as the boss, I'm always going to have the upper hand, because if something happens, it's not me losing my job.
It's the person under me.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what, it's an unbalanced relationship, and it
even if it's a friendship,
work.
Yeah, I've definitely thought about that before with like, you know, certain production houses and the way they interact with their artists and the relationships that they have with them. And like, you know, as friendly as they seem with each other, and as much as they support each other and seem to be on good terms, it's like you said, like that innate power balance is always going to be there as long as one person is working as the director or the producer or whatever in that situation, and the other person is working as an artist in their project. So yeah, that is something really interesting to think about.
Yeah, that's why I find the whole situation with and his fixations to be so disgusting to me, because I, at the same time, I feel sorry for these actors who have probably, like, they see an opportunity that's like it, like, even if it, like, for example, art, like, no one else has given him a chance, mostly because he has a habit of acting out, so, like, we can speculate about that.
Yeah.
but no one else has even like, he's been auditioning for years, like, no one's giving him a chance, and now comes here and he has, like, hooked him in. Obviously he's not going to go anywhere, because even if it's an inappropriate relationship, he feels like, okay, this is my only chance to even go anywhere.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of consent. Like, it's like forced consent, basically, because you don't feel like you have any other choice.
Yeah, there's no, like, genuine choice, or I don't know the word, I guess power that someone as the, like, artist or actor holds in that situation to truly say, like, yes or no and keep their autonomy in that situation.
Yeah. Coercion.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but there are plenty of, like, if you just pay attention, there are plenty of stuff coming out. There are plenty of situations happening. Oh, I remember Nui had something too where, was it, I can't remember if it was like his hairdressers or makeup artist or something were really clingy over him.
Oh. I don't know about the Nui one, but that just reminded me of the Earth one, the Big Earth one, where his team was, like, taking a video of him getting changed and, like, posted it online.
Without him knowing.
Yeah. I don't really follow anything that Nui does, so I don't.
Yeah, I know. I don't either, but it sort of popped up on my on my timeline. I'm just like, okay, like,
yeah, but that goes back into this issue of, like, you know, people's teams and their management and their stylists, you know, posting these videos of them that a lot of the times we revel in, but how often are actors, like, consenting to those videos being posted? Because in the Earth situation, he clearly was not aware that the video of him getting changed was posted. And so I wonder, like, what the balance is between the actors being aware of what's getting posted and, you know, consenting to what's getting posted. And like you said, how much can they consent in that situation? Because the fan service aspect and how much that plays into them staying relevant and things like that. So it's really just like a whole discussion to be had.
I do feel sometimes that the industry is very much objectifying these actors.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They're nothing more than objects for them to earn money from, have
to sell to their
get
audience,
some, like, sick, pleasurable reaction from, or I don't know. Like, for example, the KinnPorsche authors, them doing these things to the authors is like, it has to be like some sick fantasy.
They laugh about it.
Yeah.
They laugh about it.
Yeah.
Even when the actors are saying, like, yeah, this is true, they touched me this way, or I don't remember how Maya worded it, or, you know, Barcode, like, when he was talking about he was taught to give massages. They laugh about it. Like, yeah, it's like a sick little fantasy. Ugh. Now I'm mad again.
So creepy.
It's gross. Gross.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, I feel like there's so much anger for all of these situations, and what makes me the most angry is that I feel sort of helpless.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like there's
exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yes.
There's nothing we can do other than talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like these are actors that a lot of people care about and look up to. And in the situation like with KinnPorsche, it feels like no matter how much you talk about the situation and trend the hashtags and all this stuff, like nothing's happening. And so it makes you feel even more helpless in this situation. And it's like, yeah, we're talking about it. And I think bringing light to it is important because, like, as we saw with Kayla's video and a lot of the response, like, people don't know that these things are happening, even with a series as big as KinnPorsche. Like, people are not aware of what's going on with, people behind the scenes. So I do think there is a lot of merit in having these discussions, but then, like, you still feel like you wish there was more you could do to protect these actors at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people don't see things that go down on social media just because they are not chronically online. Like,
unlike me. I wish that was me.
Right? So it's like, yeah, spreading awareness to as many people as possible that these things happened, I think is probably the best thing we can do other than flat out boycotting if that would serve the situation.
Yeah. But like I said earlier, like boycotting that book, perfect.
100%.
Like the actors are not, like, they won't be affected by you boycotting that book. So just do not buy it. And it's going to be a huge dent in their revenue because getting translations is really expensive. Getting them made and everything is super expensive. So if they don't earn any money on this, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can do in the immediate future to have them face some kind of consequence.
Yeah, because they know about these accusations towards them, and they are not sorry.
Very casually,
They are not sorry at all. They think it's fine. They're probably going to continue with it. And probably going to tell these actors that they're not allowed to, like, put any clips up about it or take any videos of it. They'll just do it when no one's watching. Or I think they get, like, this sick sort of satisfaction over people seeing them do stuff like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Gosh.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so you guys listening, have you heard about any situations? Please leave them in the comments below on YouTube or send us, add us on social media and we'll read it. Like, there are plenty of situations. We've probably missed some. Sometimes a lot of stuff is happening, so it's not always easy to kind of catch everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But we want to bring light to things if we can because, we have a platform that we can use to do that. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll always talk about this stuff. So keep us up to date. Yes. So that's it for this week's episode. We know it was a heavy topic, so thank you for sitting through it.
Seriously.
If you enjoyed the episode, leave us a rating, wherever you get your podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sharing this episode with your friends really helps us out. And thanks for joining us this week, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Okay, ready?
Yes. Blueberry's not ready.
Yeah, no, not at all. He was lying down and then he just decided that, nope, you're gonna start something, I need to start moving around and making noise.